Good morning, everybody, and I am Fatbaldguy, FBG, Keeneland Dan. High school guys still call me Nads. My real name is Dan Cronin, if you don't know who I am. Hard to be at that point in my life, but there are people out there that still don't know. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit of Kentucky Derby for the next 30 minutes, and I'm going to try to keep it right at 30 minutes. Let's go to the first horse. We're just going to go down the scroll here. Sierra Leone. What to do with Sierra Leone? Well, I'm going to try to blow this up a little more so I can see a little bit better. Sierra Leone is a two-prep horse. I like two-prep horses. For a long time, it was two preps. Then it started getting back to three preps. One horse did win recently with four preps, but for the most part, it's the two or three preps. If you run a two-prep sequence, they tend to either really leap forward or they're just plain not good enough, but you're guessing more on the buyer number coming out or the rag or whatever else you use coming out. Fierceness doesn't need to go forward. Sierra Leone needs to go forward. Now, he's running 91, then 95, then 98. Great sequence. His rag number's a little slow. So, with an 8, you're not winning the Kentucky Derby. With a 98 buyer, you're not winning the Kentucky Derby, especially this year. Can he win with a normal progression to a 102 or 103? Yes. Yes, he could. Now, he's going to have to come from way back. He's got Tyler, who tends to just go wide. I'm not knocking him. The horse is really, really nice. I mean, he's a gun runner. They paid over $2 million for. I mean, come on. I know Chad Brown's loved him from day one. He's one of the horses. I don't think he's going to win, but I do think he might mess up the tries and supers for people by being in it at 4 or 5 to 1. So that's what I think is Sierra Leone. He can win. I'm not telling you not to take him in the pick 5s, pick 4s. But in my trifectas, I'm going to try to not have him on top, at least right now, unless the other horses I like draw terrible posts. Fierceness. Man, he's the only horse in here that if he runs his number, which is 110 buyer, 5 rag, he's going to win. Now, the problem is the every other race, right? Every other race, he's not running well. He's got to get out of the gate. Sometimes he stumbles. He lunged up there at Belmont Aqueduct in the Champagne. He lunged at the start. He was eliminated. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile, he broke perfect like a rocket, and that was the end, and he didn't have the lead. There's some people that keep saying he has to have the lead. I don't know what you watched in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he didn't have the lead. He jogged second in a nice fluid jog, 47 flat, 110 and 4. If he goes 110 and 4, he's going to draw away and win easy. Now, I don't know if the pace is going to be that slow. It might be in the 109 area or 110, and then we're going to find out how good he is if he can keep going. But his works have been tremendous. He's a two-prep horse. He has to be your top horse. It doesn't mean you single. It doesn't mean in pick 4s and 5s it's the only horse you take. I wouldn't do that to you. There's other horses. But Fierceness is on the short list of horses that look like they can win. Catching Freedom. Now, Catching Freedom, man, that last work was solid. You better write down Castle Warden because Castle Warden worked with him and wouldn't let him by. So wherever they put Castle Warden next, if he puts him in the right level, boy, look out. Brad Cox always tends to put them where they belong, correct? Man, that ride when we were down at Keeneland just cost me a fortune. That damn shortstop. I don't know. I wish he'd stop riding him. But it is what it is. So, Catching Freedom, you got a top rider. I believe Pratt's riding. I could be wrong. Cox, going to come from way back. That 6-week layoff makes me nervous. Technically, he's a 3-prep horse, but he ran on January 1st. And the cutoff is December 31st for 2-prep or 3-prep. So it's kind of, tongue-in-cheek, I guess we'll say, whether he's a 2 or 3-prep horse. But his numbers are going in the right direction. That 97 has to go to a 102 or 103 to have any chance to win. He needs a little bit of a meltdown to have any chance to win. To me, he's more of a trifecta horse, but he's got a chance. The next horse on this sheet is Stronghold. I don't like him at all. Resilience. Now, we bet our butt on him at 4-1 in the Wood. Thank you to our information that they loved him. But he didn't move forward on numbers at all. He only ran a 90. I know he's going to be 20 or 30-1. I just don't think he has any chance to hit the board. Forever Young. What to do with Forever Young? Well, I'm usually in the crowd that says throw them out. Throw them all out. But the 105 time form and then come back with a 6 rag, if you can believe that, puts him right there. The breeding, not a big breed guy, but I don't know. The fact that he is a Japanese horse, and I guess I'm on the fence. If you want to put him in exactas or tries, I understand that. If you want to throw him on your pick 4 or 5, I wouldn't knock you. But I definitely would not be in the camp of he's your single, he's your top horse, he's your main horse. I am not in that camp. If he wins, maybe if I catch an undercard race where I single somewhere, a Jackie's Warrior or a Strobe or somebody like that, the Brendan Walsh on the turf that we loved 2 years ago. If we catch something like that in the undercard, then we can spread more in the Derby, and then we add Forever Young. Endlessly should not belong in the race. He has no business at a race. If the owners happen to be watching, please put him in the turf race. Please. He's not a dirt horse. Watch him work. Anybody that bets on this horse in the Derby, you have lost your mind. I will book it if he runs in the Derby. I will book every and any bet you want to make on Endlessly. Door Knock. Well, as I just told our members, I think Door Knock's got a big, big, big chance to hit the board. Doesn't mean I think he's going to win. But he's a 2-prep horse, and he's a legit 2-prep horse. He ran December 2nd and hadn't run all the way to March and then April. So he's a legit 2-start horse. I have no idea why the trainer told Saez to take a hold of this horse. I'm hoping they have the come to Jesus moment with Saez to ride this horse like he rode Maximum Security. Because if he rides him like Maximum Security, then he's got a chance. Not only does he have a chance to win, he's got a chance to continue to go and hit the board. He's not going to win if he doesn't make the lead. He must make the lead. This horse cannot rate and hit the board in a Kentucky Derby. And there's not a ton of speed in there. If he guns him, he can make the lead. Because Johnny V is not going to gun Fierceness. He's going to just let him get into his normal gallop speed, which will put him 1, 2, 3 if he breaks. Door Knock, you got to send him. That's the only way he can hit the board. But at 20 or 25-1, he's a horse you can put on your trifecta, in my opinion. Just a Touch, I don't think you can make any tickets without Just a Touch unless you're going to single a horse you like. I think Just a Touch is one of these horses that can absolutely win the race. He can absolutely hit the board. And he's going to be ridden forward. He's going to be sitting in that Smarty Jones area, just where American Pharoah was. American Pharoah sat third, remember. He did not go to the lead in the Derby because he was in the parking lot. They had to conserve him. And that's why he almost got beat. If Just a Touch draws in that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 area, I think he's got a huge chance to upset and win this race. Any Brad Cox has a chance. He really reminds me of Mandaloon. Really reminds me of Mandaloon. He is bred like royalty. He's being trained by the best. Florent Giroux, I know a lot of guys knock him. I really like him. I've won so much money on Brad Cox horses with Florent Giroux. I mean, if you give me the choice between having the shortstop on or Florent Giroux, all day long, baby, I want Florent Giroux. He's going to send this horse forward. He's got a big chance. That 96 number's got to move forward into the 102, 103 area. But just like closing argument when he was 1,000,000 to 1 and almost win the race against the Fleet Alex when Giacomo nailed him, he's going to be up on that pace, and he may not stop. And again, I'm not saying he's going to win, but if you're making tries and supers and exactas, you just have to have him on your ticket. Track Phantom, I don't think has any chance. Track Phantom is speed. He lost to Catching Freedom and Honor Marie. He stopped going a mile and 3/16. I know he's had 6 weeks to get ready, but I just think that he's one of those horses that's going to go forward early and fade out of it. A Sinister Minister type horse without the gigantic buyer. He's only got 294s back to back. I just don't think he's near good enough to win. West Saratoga. If West Saratoga runs in this race, he's way too slow. If you want to put him on your super, go ahead. Is an absolute 50 to 1 balm. I don't think he has any chance to run 1, 2, 3. Just Steel. I think Coach has a big chance here. I know this horse doesn't look great. He's 2 for 11, but either did Real Quiet. Real Quiet looked very similar to him other than the buyer number. Real Quiet ran a gigantic buyer in the, I believe it was the Santa Anita Derby, and everybody bet on Indian Charlie, but me and my brother bet on Real Quiet. He came running, he win, should have won the Triple Crown. Just Steel is going to sit in that 6th, 7th, 8th area. And again, he's bred to run all day long. And he's proven that he can. Coach has run him and run him and run it. He's run 11 times. This horse is ready, baby. He is ready to run his race. Now, is he good enough? Can that 95 go to 102 and 103 to win the race? Maybe not. Maybe not. But you got to have him on your tries, your supers, even your exactas. I will have him on 1, pick 4 or 5. I just have to. I cannot let this horse beat me and pay $40 and Coach in that winner's circle celebrating and everybody's crying and so happy for Coach and his family. I know I would be. I think the world of Coach. Honor Marie. Whitworth Beckman. Doesn't that sound like royalty? I don't know you, Mr. Beckman, but I know you can train. I'd love to meet you someday. 2-start horse, 2 preps. I love that, 2 preps, if you can't tell. Risen Star, Louisiana Derby, laid up for 6 weeks. He really came flying down that lane in the Louisiana Derby. At 20 or 25 to 1, and I know my man Ed DeRosa likes this horse too, I think Honor Marie has a big chance to upset the entire field and win, or at least be in the trifecta. I'm leaning towards trifectas like this. Fierceness, Just a Touch, with Sierra Leone, Catching Freedom, Forever Young, Just Steel, Honor Marie, Dornock, Mystic Dan. Those same horses third. Maybe 1 or 2 more real balms third. Like Encino. But that's kind of how I'm leaning, and then put Fierceness out because Ed discussed this, and I 100% agree. Fierceness, if you're betting tries, exactas, supers, once you put him on top, don't put him second. Don't put him second. He's either going to win easy and that Beyer number is going to fly out, and he's going to win by 3, 4, 5 lengths, or he's going to stop to a crawl or get left in the gate or stumble like Holy Bull, and he's going to run totally out. And then we won't see him until the Haskell and the Travers. I'm just telling, that's the way I'm playing it, and that's why I suggest you play it like that. Make one ticket with him on top, one ticket totally out. And the totally out ticket, put the horses you like on top. I'm putting Sierra Leone, Just a Touch, Catch a Freedom, Just Steel, Honor Marie. I'm going to put all them bombs on top. And if I'm right, look out. I mean, 50-cent tries don't cost that much. You could take a ton of them with a ton of them with a ton of them and still be with a buddy of yours, $100, $200 and not spend, your whole lunch money. I always say play with your partners, play with buddies. It's just a better way to play. I know some guys are against it. I'm not. I love it. I think it's camaraderie. I think it makes it more fun. And let's face it, when you're taking shots, you lose less money if you take shots. Yeah, okay, so you strike the moon for $100,000 and you got to split it with somebody. Boy, the $50,000 is so horrible, right? That's just the way I look at it. Do what you got to do. But Honor Marie, I think, has got a big, big chance. Jumped forward 11 points in his last start. I mean, that's big. If he goes another 11 points, that's 107. 107 can win. 2 preps, guys. Horses with 2 preps tend to leap forward. Horses with 3 preps sometimes will double up or just barely go forward. Because third off the layoff is usually the best race a horse will run. Usually. 6 weeks off might be too much, but he's going to be loping in the back. He's going to come running. I'm not sure he's good enough, but at that price, got to be on a ticket or two. Domestic product. Well, I don't really like this horse. I think he's way too slow. I don't think Chad thinks he can win. I think if he gets in the Derby, they're going to use him to go as fast as they can early to set it up for Sierra Leone. It's just my conspiracy theory. If domestic product runs in the Derby, they will not ride him to win the race because he's too slow. But could he bother the up-front horses for a half a mile? He could. Remember Palace Malice when they did that? They sent him to the front like a bat out of hell, and then he ended up winning the Belmont when they rode him like a normal horse. Catalytic for Saffie Joseph, second in the Florida Derby. I just don't see any way he can win. But he is a 2-start horse. 2 preps. If the 90 goes to 100, maybe he hits the board. I don't like him, but he did run behind Fierceness. We call that the marriage race. If he's 40 or 50 to 1, how do you not throw him in 3rd or 4th? Is the way I look at that. Society Man for Danny Gargan. Another one that's going to be 30, 40, 50 to 1. On paper, he's way too slow. Way too slow. But that doesn't mean you don't put him 3rd or 4th if you got the budget. Because you're looking for them 40, 50, 60 to 1 shots to just plot in their 3rd. Could he do it? Probably not. But is it worth an extra $5, $10? Maybe. Mystic Dan. Now, he's already got the 101 to put him on the board in the Derby. If it rains, he obviously moves way up in the slop, right? I mean, he beat the tar out of Just Steel. I think Mystic Dan, if ridden correctly, and I trust Brian Hernandez, I've bet so much money on Brian Hernandez over the years. I think he's one of the most underrated riders in the country. I follow the Kentucky circuit like nobody else. I can make the morning lines in my sleep half the time. When they put out overnights sometimes at Keeneland, I don't need a form because I already know all the horses. That's how sick I am. It just is. I'm a degenerate. This is my life. That's all I do. So all these horses for Kenny McPeak, man, I just know Kenny. I know how he trains. This horse is going to be ready. Brian's going to be ready. If an opening opens on that fence, Brian's going to sit down there and he's going to take it. He is not going to panic. He is not scared of the fence like a lot of them are. He's not scared of big fields. He's win a Breeders' Cup with Fort Larned. I mean, he knows what he's doing. So don't knock the horse because of the rider. Don't knock the horse because of the trainer. If you don't like the horse because of the numbers, I fully understand. But I will remind you that the horse that blew up the board for Eric Reed, you know who I'm talking about, had a win at Churchill in a cheap race, right? Mystic Dan broke his maiden at Churchill. He win by 7. He win as easy as you could win. He's progressed from there. His second biggest buyer number of his life was at Churchill. He's going to be 25-1. I think the 3 best long shots are Mystic Dan, Just Steel, and Honor Marie. They're all going to be somewhere in that 20-30-1 area. I am going to bet a lot of trifectas with those 3 second and third, and the super with those 3 second, third, and fourth. If those 3 all miss the board, I'm probably going to lose the trifecta. It's just the way it is. If 2 of them hit the board, I'm going to be ecstatic, because one of my tickets is going to be boxing those 3 with all third, all second, all first. Then Fierceness with those 3. Boom. With Fierceness with a bunch with those 3. Boom. That's the way I'm going to play it. Now, the other Japanese horse, no. Not today, boys. Encino. You know, Encino's got a 94 now in the Lexington. You guys that follow me know I bet my butt on Encino. My biggest bets are always Brad Cox horses. But after Epic Ride ran so well in the Bluegrass, it told me that Battaglia Stakes was better than I thought, and Encino was better than I thought. And then I looked at the field, and I was like, well, the only way this horse can lose is the Wine Stewart. There's no way this horse can lose. I thought he'd stalk, but again, Florent Giroux's so good. He sent this horse, boom, out of the gate and said, well, if somebody wants to go with me, I'm going to go 23 and change, 47, and if you want to go with me, my horse can run forever. Yours can't. Encino can run all day long. Now, can that 94 go to 100 to hit the board? That's the question. But at 20 or 30-1, Brad Cox, I'm not throwing out a Brad Cox. Catching Freedom, Just a Touch, Encino, I can't throw them out. I just can't. I have to have them in my tickets. Grand Mo the first, nope. Common Defense, if he draws in. You know, I liked him a little bit going into the Louisiana Derby. I just don't see it. I keep trying to make an excuse for him, and I guess the only excuse you can make is he got too close to the pace in the Louisiana Derby. Maybe they need to take him back and try to hit the board. Epic Ride. What do we do with Epic Ride? Well, if you put Encino on your tickets, you got to put Epic Ride on your tickets. I'm not convinced Epic Ride can get a 1.25 miles at all. I think he's more of a sprinter, miler type. I would run him in the Pat Day Mile if I was John Ennis. And I think he would have a big chance to win the Pat Day Mile. And then I'd probably send him to the Ohio Derby, the Oklahoma Derby, West Virginia Derby, stuff like that. But Epic Ride is a really neat horse. I just don't know if he's fast fast enough, but if I make tries and supers, which I'm going to do, he's got to be on your tickets. And I know this is a lot of information. The post positions haven't even been drawn yet, but we're just trying to kind of touch on as many horses as possible. That's just kind of my feeling as we get near the Derby. We'll have the sheet ready, of course, with the top pick, the A horses, the B horses. We'll put all the exactas, the tries, the supers, the Oaks Derby doubles, how we're leaning on horses. But even if you like Fierceness or Sierra Leone, there's some credible long shots this year that there's been years past. I singled American Pharoah. I singled Street Sense. I mean, there's years that I thought a horse just could not lose. I singled Smarty Jones. I didn't think he could lose. I used 2 of them with Barbaro. I used one other horse in there. And then I've got burnt before. I took Bellamy Road and a Fleet Alex only and had, I think it was like $60,000 coming if a Fleet Alex won. I didn't spread. I didn't take the closers. I got burned. You can't be right every single year. When Rich Strike won, I just got lucky to be in with a buddy of mine that wanted to take all in one lousy ticket. We made a zillion tickets in one ticket. We got lucky, and we ended up hitting the pick 5. So I suggest you zero in on the horse you like, but take some shots. Look at the undercard. If you can find a horse or two, that's why the sheet's so important on Derby Day, is we find those undercard and aftercard. My favorite pick 5 to bet the whole day is the late pick 5. The 2 races into the Derby and the 2 races after the Derby, because it's still a gigantic pool. You get a lot of dead and drunk money in there. And if we can come up with a horse in those last 2 races, which 3 out of the last 4 years we've come up with one that's won. Strobe won us all the money. First time starter. We knew. Now we got websites that we can watch them, so we can get better information besides just calling people and digging and saying, hey, do you like this horse? I haven't seen I don't know what races are last, but they're usually a maiden race and a good allowance race that we can hopefully zero in. And then you can really spread out in the Derby. And then if you do like Fierceness or Sierra Leone or whoever else, and you want a single in the Derby, then you can spread out in those last 2 races. So I always tell people, don't get buried early. Don't come out at 10:30 in the morning with $1,000 in your pocket and lose 800, and by 3 o'clock you got 200 left for the Derby. If you're going to make Derby, pick 4s, pick 5s, late bets, exactas, tries, supers, make them early in the day. Make them and then enjoy your day. And then put them in your pocket or bet them online so they're already in. You don't have to worry about it. If you have too many drinks, you don't have to worry about it. You're already in. You made your bets with your buddies. You're in. And that way you don't get into the Derby with short money. God, I've done it so many times in my life. When I was in my 20s, my God, I drank as much as, well, not as much as Huey, but as much as a lot of people. And it happens. So now I'm older. I know what to do. It's easier with the online stuff. You can bet online, forget about it. So anyway, this is Dan Cronin, Fatbaldguy, FBG, Keeneland Dan, whatever you want to call me. I'm just trying to help. We'll be around. Good luck this week. Good luck into the Derby. And thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe.